So welcome to this week's edition of Talkin Ball Game Day, Week 2.
Episode 2.
Episode 2.
But
before we go any farther, first of all, let's go ahead and get some preliminaries out of the way. Thank you, Cam
Big
Smith.
Word.
To Just Jesus
He always drops one.
Network
does.
Radio,
Each episode.
right above me. Appreciate him. Internet radio app for all your gospel preaching, singing, all that good stuff. Check out our boy Dave, Saturday mornings, 8:30.
Saturday morning.
Also, thank him for the American Senior Benefits Insurance Company. Anytime you need any insurance needs, make sure you go see him. All his information is in the link below.
All right,
So-
now for the goods.
As you can tell, us Clemson fans are in Georgia jerseys.
There is
Yes.
a Georgia jersey here, a Georgia jersey here. We got Tyson Campbell represented and Herschel Walker represented, and just to flex.
Shout out to CT, wore this while he was preaching.
That's right. My Georgia merch, I've still got George Pickens on the wall. I promise it's Pickens.
Yeah.
And so we made a bet on the game day that whoever's team lost, you'd sing the other one's
person
fight
won
song
jersey.
and wear their jerseys. So these two fellas have to sing the fight song.
Let's go.
Glory, glory to old Georgia. So
You
we're
ready,
going to
John?
hit the
I'm
button
ready.
here. Let it go.
John's making his singing debut here.
Dude, let's
That's
go.
right.
Is the music started yet?
yes.
We gotta wait for it to go.
It's about to.
Yeah.
It's a little bit delayed, but hey, it'll
Yeah.
be good.
Glory, glory to old Georgia.
I love it.
Glory, glory to old Georgia. Glory, glory to old Georgia. Georgia.
That's all right.
Oh,
Glory, glory to old Georgia. Glory, glory to old Georgia. Glory, glory to old Georgia. Georgia. Go Dogs!
Hey,
That kills us to do that.
I just joined up
Miserable.
singing because I don't sing.
So,
But
But-
miserable.
hey, thanks for being men of your word.
we
sir.
are. No lemon law here.
No lemon law here.
So-
no lemon law.
let's
Google
let's
that.
let's
have your
dive
time.
let's dive into this. Episode 2, week 2 is here. Hopefully, have a better week for our Tigers.
I
Hopefully,
would sure hope so,
Sure hope
especially
so.
if we're playing.
if not, this will be the last episode of Talking
Yeah,
Ball.
we're out.
We're done. So
All right. Well, so it's no secret that last week's slate of games were a tad bit better.
Yeah,
than
for
this
sure.
week's.
Significant.
Um,
yeah.
But I mean, college football is college football.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
I like football.
Yep.
So I'm cool with the slate of games.
right, and
There's
even
still
though
a couple good
there's not
ones.
there's only 2 ranked matchups this week. I think last week proved that just because you're ranked in the top
Oh, yeah.
10, top 5, and you're playing an unranked team,
It's
you
college
better
fo-
watch
it's-
out.
It's college football. Anything can
Florida
happen.
State should have pulled the upset.
Florida State should have won.
When this is
Virginia Tech
when we're recording
won.
this last
I'll
night.
tell you what, I've never found myself pulling for Florida State
Never.
until last night.
Never.
For one, because of the Mackenzie Milton story, but secondly, because
Yeah.
it would take Notre Dame out of playoff and make it better
that
for
was
Clemson.
crazy because it's not like he came in the game because the quarterback was playing bad.
Right.
right.
The quarterback was throwing the thing around.
Yeah,
to be
it,
honest with
it
you.
just so happened to come in a fluke play where his
Yeah.
helmet came off and they put Mackenzie Milton
he
in.
comes in and throws a 20-yard dime,
Yeah.
and you're like, stay out there.
Yeah,
and then they lead him down
and
there.
no
Did they
doubt, I
score?
think he starts this. Yeah, they scored that drive. I think he starts this week.
Yeah, I think
He might be your starter for
potentially.
the rest of the year.
Potentially.
I thought he was gonna start last week.
yeah.
Yeah. So, again, just as last week, we're gonna try to have the same segments throughout the week. So we'll start off with our upset watch team of the week, which, by the way,
We were almost 3 for 3 last
almost
week.
3 for
Almost.
3.
David got his right in saying watch out for Virginia Tech. I got mine right in saying watch out for UCLA, and he said Florida State. And it was
Yeah,
almost.
almost.
And mind you, we're not picking these
Yeah,
upsets. We're just
yeah.
saying keep an eye on
Keep
it.
an eye.
Exactly. So, I'll start off. Big
Going
up,
big.
going big.
Go
like
big or
it,
go
I like
home.
it.
Going a man of my word, which this is a little bit of a preview into what my pick is later. But as I said last week, I said that Ohio State would lose in either week 1 or week 2.
Yep.
Well, they won in week 1. So
That means
I'm
in
going
order
my
for you
I'm
to be
going my
right.
upset watch is Oregon at Ohio State this week.
Do we have any update on if Kayvon Thibodeau's playing or not?
I don't think he is.
If
but-
Kayvon, no, I mean obviously that's your pick. If Kayvon Thibodeau's playing, I'd say they have a chance.
right.
No,
But because
But
of that, I
I'm
wouldn't.
not very, and you'll see as we get into
Wasn't impressed by the secondary
into
of
this
Oregon.
Oh,
episode.
absolutely.
You'll see some more things about why I'm not why I'm picking this upset, and watch out for this upset. Think Oregon is a great team. Nothing to take away from Ohio State, but they didn't look too good last week against Minnesota. I know they pulled away there at the end of the game, But I'm taking that as my upset watch of the week / pick. David, quit
Dallas
that.
is, I was about to say Dallas is struggling over there with the
No,
mic.
I'm trying to manipulate over there. John, what's your upset?
That was a nice word. My upset to watch.
That's two big words
That is
today.
in one episode.
Yes,
So my
sir.
my upset watch is Arkansas.
It's your turn to give a big word.
So that'll probably not happen. Let's be real here. But my pick is the Arkansas Razorbacks. I like what Sam Pittman's been doing with Arkansas.
Yeah.
I believe. I mean, really, with Texas, they looked good against the Raging Cajuns last week, but their run defense wasn't necessarily the best. I
Is there a
think
good chance that the Cajuns are overrated?
very potentially, absolutely.
I mean,
And so I think Traylon Smith, or however you pronounce the Arkansas running back's name, I think he could have a big game. And also Texas secondary didn't play that well. Where Texas looked good last week was Hudson Card in their offense. I think KJ Jefferson, Arkansas's quarterback, could come out and have a good week. Again, I believe in Sam Pittman. I think he's had a drastic culture change at Arkansas. So, so I say watch out for the Razorbacks this week.
yeah, watch out for Arkansas there. I really like that pick. I don't like both of those, but so my upset to keep your eye on is Eastern Carolina and South Carolina. And the only reason
Even after
being,
their 46-0 win.
I don't give a rip. The only reason being,
You just upset some Carolina.
the only reason being is because there is a possible chance that they are looking ahead at Georgia. Now, here's the thing. I believe if they're focused, I believe if they're tuned in, I think they could win by 20 or 30 points.
Yeah.
But if they're looking ahead at Georgia, I mean, Georgia is the national headline right now. They just beat a top 3 team. They're going to be number 2 next week.
Right.
The odds are when Carolina plays them, they're number 2. Carolina wants nothing more than an upset number 2
Oh,
team
yeah,
next
absolutely.
week.
Right.
And if they are focused,
it'll be a big win for Shane Beamer starting off.
if they're looking
huge
ahead at Georgia and they're looking ahead, and even in preparation this week,
Yep.
That's all going to rest on the head coach's shoulders.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Is this young head coach going to say go 1-0 every week, or are they going to inch
looking ahead.
and peep ahead? Because if you peep ahead, you kick off at 12.
Because they're high right now.
Yep.
I mean, Carolina fans. We've got some Carolina
They've
fans.
won the national championship.
Yeah, to them, they're through the roof.
they're
Especially their in-state rivals, 0-1, they're 1-0.
Yeah, and they played good this week. I mean, they did what they had. They did what they had to
credit.
do.
Now, a lesser opponent, but you did what you're supposed to do.
Right.
Exactly.
But like I say, if you're focused, and if you play your level of ball, you win, and you probably win big.
They do.
Do we know for sure who's starting quarterback? Is it Zeb Nolan?
It'll be Zeb again.
We talked to Landon today, and actually just got done eating lunch with him, and they said, from what he said, Shane Beamer went out and said he's not going to name a starter. He doesn't want. He's like, I'm not going to make it that easy.
I believe it'll be Zeb.
But for their coach to game plan against
Zeb.
him. But I do think Zeb starts again, gives him another week gives Luke another week of
There's a little bit of film on
rest. Yeah, for Georgia.
But like I say, if Carolina's focused and prepared and they're not looking ahead, I think they win big.
Yeah, I do too.
And the spread's only 2 points.
I was going to get to that when we went into our picks, but since you said that, yeah, the spread's only 2.
That's a tight spread.
That shocked me a lot.
And it can change.
No, it can change.
But I don't think it goes up to past 7.
No,
probably not.
But
it really all depends on where the money's falling.
Right.
All the money's pointing on South Carolina.
But
that
really shocked me, especially after the win that they just had.
Right.
I know it was a lesser opponent, but also with East Carolina just getting beat by App State by 14, and then they only put South Carolina by 2. That really shocked me.
Like I say, I'm not necessarily saying they're going to lose, but if they're looking at Georgia, I think they could get upset.
Yeah. So let's move on to our breakout player of the week. Who's going to step up? Who's going to get back in the swing of things? You may start, or you want to start?
I'll start us off.
Okay, good.
I'm going to go with what I believe to be a top 5 running back in college football, probably a top 3 running back in college football, in Breece Hall. Iowa State as a whole did not look great against Northern Iowa. It's the first week, and Northern Iowa is a lesser opponent, but they're not like a god-awful program by any stretch of the imagination. They only won 16-10, and Iowa State comes in with some really big expectations this season to potentially be able to make a run for the playoffs. Breece Hall, Brock Purdy, I think he's at least a third, might be a fourth-year guy. They got some experience, especially on the offensive side of the ball, and I think Breece Hall is going to bounce back. He had, I think, 22 carries for like 70 yards and a touchdown. That's very mediocre stats for Breece Hall. I expect a big game against Iowa.
Big stage.
Who looked great against Indiana.
Game Day's going to be there.
Right, looked great against Indiana. I think Breece Hall comes out and shows people why he's one of the best running backs in college football.
Good pick.
So I'll throw in here my breakout player of the week and player to keep an eye for is Michael Penix Jr. Last week he went 14 for 31, 150 yards, no touchdowns, and 3 interceptions. Way less than good.
Right.
Terrible even. Nothing good about that. His QBR is 14 last week. Played a great Iowa team, and I think an underrated Iowa team.
I
don't understand why you've got Iowa State number 7 and you've got Iowa number 19, 20. And these teams are basically
it's gonna be a fun game to watch. I'm excited.
You picking Iowa to go into Iowa State?
We'll talk about that later.
We'll talk about that later.
All I'll tell you is I am very excited about this matchup. I think Iowa State is gonna be a heck of a game.
But Michael Penix Jr. I think turns it around this week. I think he'll have a really good performance, and I think he'll clear up his resume a little bit.
My breakout player is my own team. DJ Uyunglele.
He better break out.
So similarly to kind of Michael Penix. Bad game, bounce back.
He plays Bowling Springs Middle School.
I don't care who plays, but I do expect him to get back on track this week. Expect Clemson.
They'd still probably get about 4 sacks on us.
They're going to air that thing out.
Probably, They probably will.
If State comes in and gets 8 sacks and Georgia's pass rush isn't good, it's just
but I do expect DJ to get back on track. He's took it rough all week, I can imagine. From social media. And like I said, we have to go back to remember that these athletes are just kids.
Oh, yeah. No, absolutely.
No doubt he's got to go. I mean, he's got to do school tomorrow on top of everything that he's got going on. But you're an athlete. It's your job to put that aside, come out and play well. And I expect him 350, 375.
No, I expect
he probably won't even play the whole game because they should be up by enough. But I can see Dabo keeping them in longer than usual because of the week that they had last week. They need to get in sync. They need to get.
I think the same thing can be said for Georgia.
Yeah, I agree.
I think both these offenses are going to say we're going to air this thing out. We're going to put up points.
Yeah, I can see both teams scoring high this week.
Okay.
But yeah, DJ's definitely my breakout player. Look for him to bounce back this week and get back on track.
We'll transition to teams that we're sleeping on this week, and I'll let you go back to back and kick it off, Doug.
Okay. So, team/player that we're sleeping on this week. I am sleeping on, as I've already mentioned it a little bit already, but I am sleeping on C.J. Stroud.
Okay.
I understand C.J. Stroud, had the stats to back up what he did last week. But if you look into that game,
it didn't really pass the eye test.
It didn't. He looked flustered in the beginning, overthrew a lot of people.
Right.
And a lot of his yards came from open receivers, because you have no doubt probably the best duo in all of college football.
I think
that's and a lot of his yards came later in the game.
Right.
So I'm sleeping on him. I'm not saying he's not a good athlete. I'm not saying he's not a good quarterback, but I'm not totally bought into him yet.
I think that's fair.
I'm not totally bought into the Heisman hype, and he can take him to a natty. I definitely, once he plays a good defense, and I think he will this week in Oregon. I'm sleeping on C.J. Stroud.
See, I'll tell you that's kind of interesting because last week my breakout potential player was C.J. Stroud.
It was.
Now this week your sleeper that you're.
And that's what every week we'll get into that.
Yeah, my only pushback on that would be is I don't know how much better, especially without Kayvon Thibodeau, Minnesota's defense is. But at the same time, you never know. It's college football.
Yeah, that's true.
So the team I'm sleeping on this week is the Tennessee Volunteers. Joe Milton, he had his flashes, as he always does.
He did.
He's got all the measurables in the world. He's got
by the way, check out our other video.
Exactly. He's got a ton of potential, but they played Bowling Green.
They did.
They put 38 points against Bowling Green,
and
it was 38-6. And there was times where Joe Milton didn't necessarily look great.
Right.
There were times that offense didn't really look like a well-oiled machine. Now, granted, it's week 1, but it is against Bowling Green. And Josh Heupel, he's an offensive guy. But this week with who they're playing, I expect Tennessee. They're playing Pittsburgh. I don't think Tennessee's going to play that well this week. I don't think Joe Milton's going to play that well this week.
So I venture to say I know who you're picking in our picks.
No spoilers.
I'm not really just sleeping on Joe Milton as a whole. Joe Milton could come out and play pretty well, but I'm sleeping on the Tennessee Volunteers this week.
David?
All right, so this one's tough because the slate of games isn't as strong as last week.
Right.
And what I was doing there, if those watching saw me staring at my phone, I'm trying to figure out what I'm going to do here.
Yeah.
And what I'm going to do is go with Texas A&M. I'm asleep on Texas A&M. They go to Colorado. Mel Tucker, the head coach, defensive guru, the defensive coordinator at Georgia before he went to Colorado. I'm not saying they lose, but let me real quick see what that spread is. Because here's the thing. Haynes King comes out last week against a terrible team.
Right.
Throws 3 picks. Yes, he's a first-time starter, and I understand all that. I don't see the spread.
Should be back on the other page, the main page.
I guess it's 17.
Yeah, 17. Yep.
So they're giving A&M 17. That's not a terrible spread.
No.
But I'm going to say that they keep it close at least for 3 quarters.
Yeah, I can see
and
that.
it wouldn't blow my mind to see Colorado potentially take the game. I mean, you're going to Colorado. They've got that traditional where the buffalo runs out and all that, and that's
good,
epic.
Usually a good environment. What time's the game?
Oh yeah.
It's a good environment, and I want to say 7:30. It's 3:30.
3:30.
Okay.
So that's my sweeper team, and not necessarily that I there's not a whole lot of options there, but it wouldn't shock me to see Colorado keep this one close.
So now we are going to get into our picks. So
So let's review the records.
yeah, I was going to say
from
while
Did
John
I say,
is.
Did I say Dale McGee?
I don't
If
know.
I did, I meant Mel Tucker.
Yeah, you said
You were
Mel
close.
Tucker. Yeah.
You said Mel Tucker.
If I said Dale
You
McGee, I
want good?
apologize. Mel Tucker.
Yeah, so our celebrity guest picker last week, Landon, did the best out of anybody.
He did.
He went 4-2. Dave coming in second, going 3-3.
That's what matters. That's what matters.
And then me and Dallas both went 2-4 with a losing record week 1. Hey, I'm looking to bounce back this week.
Me
baby.
too. And so while he's getting him on the phone,
I'm looking
It's
to
like
go.
a new
I'm
guy,
going
though.
a
6
new guy,
for 6.
and we'll give you who he is in just a
6
second.
for 6 this week,
Go ahead
baby.
and call.
Yeah, go ahead and call him. So what we're going to do is we'll keep up with our records, in comparison to us three, and then we'll keep up with the best celebrity guest picker. And I'd mentioned to the guys they didn't respond on Polo, but I say, for the celebrity guest picker,
CC Manley, you are live on Talkin' Ball.
Oh, fancy.
Oh, big
What were you
time,
saying, Dale?
baby.
So I say for the celebrity guest picker who has the best record at the end of the year, we do something for him, like
Oh, yeah.
$20.
And then,
so
CC
high
Manley,
$5, yeah,
Himself.
good job,
real quick to the audience, CC Manley, he's actually coming live from Zimbabwe. He's a missionary to Zimbabwe or maybe Uganda, so it might be hard to get him his present
if,
CC,
if he
tell us-
does win.
if we lose him, it's because he got beat up by a lion or
CC,
something.
tell us where you're at located and what's going on with you there.
I'm a missionary to Wenatchee, Washington.
I was close.
So, may as well be Zimbabwe.
So,
Yeah,
wh-
it's real close.
So what time is it where you are, CC?
It is 11:20.
11:20. So it's 2:20
Wow.
here. So they're
It's 2 o'clock here.
3 hours behind us. So CC, we're going to go ahead and dive into this. Let you know that Landon set the bar pretty high last week. He went 4-2.
Did better than anybody.
The door's open though because we don't
Yeah.
have as many close games.
Yeah, the door is open this week. So we'll go ahead and get started.
So I'll go ahead and ask you first pick. And by the way, CC Manley is a South Carolina fan. So we'll
Yes.
start with that pick. South Carolina at ECU. Who you taking?
I want to take South Carolina.
Okay.
I think after watching them play Eastern Illinois last week, which I understand it was Eastern Illinois, if they have Doty back, we should be able to handle ECU. We are going to Greenville, so it'll be a little bit tighter than I like it to be. But I think South Carolina will beat ECU.
Okay. Dallas.
I'm also going with the South Carolina Gamecocks. I'm actually taking them over the spread this week. Spread's only 2
Yeah, spread's
points.
only 2 points.
Which
Maybe
I-
in the future on these picks we can include spread.
Yeah, which again, I think that's really low. It's only they win by a field goal, they beat the spread. So I'm taking South Carolina. I'm taking pretty easily. I think a lot of their fans are looking forward to Georgia, but I think the coaching staff will have them ready
I agree.
to go play.
David.
I'm gonna take South Carolina here, and like I
I
mentioned,
thought you were going.
the only
you said watch out.
way they lose is if they're looking ahead. I think they're better than ECU top to bottom.
Yeah, for sure.
Absolutely.
I don't think they're gonna have any trouble running the ball. You're gonna see Carolina run for about 200 yards this weekend. Carolina's gonna win, and they'll cover the 2 points.
And I as well am taking South Carolina, so it's a clean sweep there. ECU lost to App State. Now, App State's one of the better group of 5 programs in college
Right.
football. We know that. Chase Bryce, former Clemson player, balled out against ECU for App State. So I think ECU wins, and I agree with Dallas. I think they cover the spread pretty easily. And so we'll move on to the next game. Should probably be another no-brainer at Clemson and South Carolina State.
Clemson.
Who are you picking?
That's Clemson all day long.
Clemson all day long, Dallas?
Yeah, Clemson.
Yeah.
Clemson big.
I'm going Clemson. David's
again.
going Clemson. I don't think we really need to discuss that
DJ
one.
breaks
I
out.
think Clemson's going to be out to prove something this week,
I do too.
After struggling with Georgia last
Yeah,
week
that's
and
gonna
the
be nasty.
offense looking as bad as it did, I think they're going to work up some kind of offensive scheme to put, 50 points on the board.
No, I
They're
agree.
hanging 70.
let
CC.
people know that the offense is not terrible.
Right, and like Dallas said previously, I could see Dabo keeping our starters out there a little bit longer than maybe he.
I've been to
would.
one Clemson game, and it was South Carolina State 3 or 4 years ago.
And that's when they cut the quarter short.
It was limited second half. It was
we went to that one. Yeah,
it was ugly.
So next up, a little bit more highly anticipated matchup, that being Oregon and Ohio State. Who you taking, CC?
I'm taking Ohio State. Oregon almost lost to Fresno State.
They did.
Miami.
Not good. And I understand it's week 1, and there's some bugs that need to be worked out and things of that nature. But Ohio State struggled with Minnesota, but Minnesota's personally, I think Minnesota should be ranked. I don't know why they're not.
I agree.
But then still pulled away with it against Minnesota. And I personally think that if Oregon and Minnesota were to play, I think Minnesota would probably win that game. I want to pick Ohio State. I just think Ohio State's a better team.
I think that's fair. I'll go ahead and make my pick as well. I think Ohio State wins the game. I think Ohio State's a better team top to bottom. And I know C.J. Stroud had his struggles. That's his first start in a hostile environment. I think C.J. Stroud comes out. And, again, his stats
play
look –
at 12?
Yeah, 12 o'clock.
What?
And his stats didn't look necessarily – her stats look great, but he didn't necessarily pass the eye test. But I'm with UCC. I think he comes out and he proves a point. Fresno State put a lot of points on that Oregon defense. Kayvon Thibodeau, probably their best player on defense, is going to be out this game. So I think Ohio State wins pretty comfortably in this one. Dallas.
David?
Give me Ohio State, and they cover the 14.
Okay.
As I've already alluded to a little bit, that's another big word.
It's 3.
Boom.
Yeah. I think C.J. Stroud struggles in this game. Ohio State probably is. They got the home field advantage. It's a daytime game. It's good atmosphere is going to be there. But I'm going with the Ducks, baby.
I like the pick.
I'm going
I like
with the
being bold.
Ducks in the upset. Oregon on the road making a big statement.
I like that. Okay, so now moving on to the next one, another good matchup, that being Pittsburgh at Tennessee. What are you picking, CC?
Pittsburgh.
I like
Pittsburgh
it.
won their week 1 game pretty handily.
I like it.
Tennessee won pretty handily score-wise, but I watched that game a little bit, and Tennessee just wasn't looking good.
I agree.
They might do something. They might work something up between week 1 and week 2 and get was it Joe Milton back on?
Yeah.
Back on track, but they just didn't look good against Bowling Green. And I know the score says otherwise, but if you watch the game, it just wasn't pretty. And I think Pitt is probably a better team, honestly. The only thing that would be if it was at Pitt, I'd definitely pick Pitt. Coming to Tennessee, that's a pretty hostile environment, but I still think Pitt will pull away with the win.
And I agree completely with what you said. That was one of the ugliest 38-6 wins that I've probably ever seen. Like you said, it was definitely – they had their flashes. Joe Milton had his flashes where he looked great. They had their flashes where their offense looked really good, and then they had their times where they looked really stale and looked like they really couldn't get the ball rolling. So I as well am going with Pittsburgh in that game. I think Pat Narduzzi is one of the better coaches really in college football. He's an underrated coach. I'm not talking about like top 10, top 15. But he's built a very solid program at Pittsburgh. I can remember just a few years ago when they beat us at home at Clemson when we had Deshaun Watson, the year that we went to win the Natty. Pittsburgh year in and year out has a solid team, and I think this year is no different, and I think they beat Tennessee.
Pitt.
Just straight up?
Straight up Pitt. Tennessee's Tennessee. Tennessee pulls another Tennessee.
Let's not forget that Tennessee's coming off of one of like the worst scandals.
They are.
Cleaning out the coaching
But
staff.
I'm going Pitt pretty big.
Man.
We got a tough one here.
I'm going to beat the Kirk Herbstreit of this.
Roll it, baby. I like it.
You going Tennessee?
There's times when everybody's going to take a certain team, and I'm going to take a different team just because. Pitt does not go into Neyland this weekend and win.
Okay. I like the pick.
I like it, yeah.
They don't. I think Tennessee does enough. I don't understand the idea of Pitt big. Tennessee lost a lot.
I don't think Pitt big, but I think Pitt wins.
If Tennessee hadn't lost Ty Chandler, Henry, today Jr., I would pick Tennessee big. I'm going to take Tennessee here. Don't know what the spread is. I was trying to find it. My phone's at 1%. But I don't know what the spread is. But give me Tennessee by touchdown.
I would like to see the spread. I would have looked that up afterwards. Okay, so next to the next matchup, we probably don't have to talk about it whatsoever. UAB and UGA, the battle of triple letters.
UAB said they wanted Georgia.
Yeah.
So who are you picking, Georgia or UAB, CC?
Oh, I'm going with the Dragons all the way.
Let's go,
That's
baby.
right, son. Yes,
Hey, put him
sir.
down. Put him down.
Yeah, I think this is going to be very similar to the Clemson, South Carolina State game, I think Georgia's going to come out to prove something. They'll probably honestly blank UAB on the scoreboard, and I think JT Daniels and the offense are going to try and get some kind of gel going this week and work together to put some points on the board. Because right now, just like Clemson, everybody's doubting their offense, trying to figure out what's going on at Georgia, and they're going to come out to prove a point. You know, hey, we have an offense. Here it is. Let's let you guys see it. So I think Georgia's going to win that one pretty handily too.
Hey, I like the terminology CC's come in with. CC has come in hot.
He's setting.
He's setting the standard.
Yeah, as far as intelligence, CC's been up there.
Oh yeah, and so Georgia, no doubt.
Yeah, Georgia big.
Georgia by a million.
Dogs big. They're going to come in something to prove. You're going to see JT and Jermaine Burton get connected a good bit. I'm interested to see what Carson Beck does when he comes in about the third quarter.
So moving on to our game day of the week as well as the actual game day. So actually give us your score on this one as well, CC. Iowa and Iowa State. Who are you taking?
This is a tough one.
Very tough one.
Iowa State didn't look great against Northern Iowa. But it's my understanding that that's one of those kind of trap games. You know what I mean?
Right. It's good.
Northern Iowa. They're one of those guys that come in and play their Super Bowl against Iowa State when they play them. And Iowa won their game pretty well. But I don't think Iowa State was all there.
Right.
Game one. I think they will be game two against Iowa. This is really tough, but I'm going to pick Iowa State. Reason being, I think they're equally good teams. I don't think that one has the advantage over the other. But they're coming into Iowa State. That's pretty hostile playing environment. So I'm going to take Iowa State. And, I mean, man, I wanted to pick this game score higher, but apparently, judging from week one, defense is back.
Definitely looks
for sure.
It's going to be a 2014 year.
I mean, I don't think anybody except for Alabama won big this week.
Yeah, I don't think
what I mean? So I'm going to go for 24-17 Iowa State. I don't expect the score to be too big, but I don't expect it to be low either. Right. I don't expect it to be a 10-3 game.
See, I'll go ahead with my pick, and I love that pick. I'm going with the Iowa State Cyclones as well. Ooh. And it was a bit difficult for me because I watched Iowa. I didn't watch the game live, but I went back and watched the highlights and the condensed game of Iowa and Indiana, and I went, wow, Iowa looked really good. Like, they didn't just look good. They looked really good.
I didn't mean to interrupt this, but the score on Iowa's game, I think 4 of the touchdowns that they scored were defensive touchdowns.
Yeah.
Wow.
So they didn't score any offensive touchdowns the whole game.
Right. So
just to put that out there.
Right. And so Iowa looked really good against Indiana. And I think I agree. I think Iowa's one of those underrated teams. But at the same time, a lot of people will look at Iowa State and say, wow, they only won by 6 against Northern Iowa. And I would be freaking out if they had a new quarterback. Yeah. I'd be freaking out if they had a lot of new pieces. Right. They got Breece Hall, who's been there for many years. Brock Purdy, who's seen it, done that, been there. Matt Campbell is their head coach, one of the best head coaches in college football. I think that was just a week one against a solid Northern Iowa team. I think they come out with something to prove. I think they beat Iowa. Brock Purdy, he's got the experience. Breece Hall got the experience. Again, Matt Campbell. And I think Iowa State 21, Iowa 10.
21-10?
That's my prediction for Iowa State.
Not so fast, my friend. In the words of Lee Corso, the head ball coach. No, it's that head ball coach.
Steve Spurrier. Close enough.
The coach is what they call him. But no, I'm going with the Hawkeyes. No. I'm going with the Hawkeyes. David, Georgia just lost or something. Going with the Hawkeyes, big win in week one. I think they go on the road into Iowa State territory and come up with the upset of 24-16. Agree with CC. I don't think it's that high scoring, but I do think it's getting into the in the 20s.
Oftentimes,
24-16 Iowa.
Oftentimes, when Lee Corso says, "Not so fast, my friend," Kirk Herbstreit says, "You're smoking crack."
Yeah, probably.
You're on that pack. All right, let me tell you something. When your defense scores 4 touchdowns, that's not something that happens often.
It's hard to do.
You cannot go into a game trusting your defense is going to score for you. You can't do it.
Right.
Iowa State's going to win this one, and Iowa State's going to win this one relatively big. 34-17 Cyclones.
34-17.
34-17
That's
Cyclones.
big.
That's big. So we got 3 Iowa States, 1 Iowa.
Brees
We
Hall
got
for 150.
3 Ohio States,
1 Oregon.
1 Oregon.
The outlier here
3
is Dallas.
Pitts, 1 Tennessee. And the rest of them are clean sweeps.
I'm rocking with the Vols and Pitt. I don't think Pitt goes to Neyland and wins.
Alrighty, but
It's not Death Valley.
thank you, CC,
Thank you,
for
CC.
being our celebrity guest picker this week.
Thank you,
Yeah.
guys. It was an honor.
Yes, sir. Hey, stay safe and go reach the
Uh-oh.
great community of Uganda.
Uh-oh. We might be in trouble, boys.
How long's it been like that?
I don't
It
know.
just went that way. So
Hey,
until,
look here.
Until next time,
If you can see us right now.
Keep talking ball.
keep talking ball.